in a dramatic escalation of his trade agenda. President Donald Trump announced a sweeping new 10% global tariff on imported goods just hours after the Supreme Court of the United States struck down several of his previously enacted tariffs. The move signals a renewed confrontation between the executive branch and the judiciary, while reigniting debate over the economic and political consequences of aggressive trade policy. The High Court's ruling invalidated a series of tariffs that had been imposed under emergency economic powers, concluding that the administration had overstepped its statutory authority. In its majority opinion, the court held that the tariffs in question did not meet the legal threshold required to justify unilateral executive action without congressional approval. Within hours of the decision, Trump responded forcefully, unveiling what he described as a simple, fair, across-the-board 10% tariff on all foreign imports entering the United States. Speaking at a press conference, Trump framed the new measure as both a defense of American industry and a direct response to what he called judicial interference in economic sovereignty. "We will not allow unelected judges to undermine American workers," Trump declared. "If they strike down targeted tariffs, we'll make it universal. 10% across the board. Very clean. Very strong." The administration argues that the new tariff falls under a different statutory framework than the measures invalidated by the court, potentially limiting immediate legal challenges. White House officials indicated that the policy is designed to simplify trade enforcement while generating substantial federal revenue. Early estimates suggest the tariff could raise hundreds of billions of dollars annually, depending on import volumes and global economic conditions. Critics, however, warn that a universal tariff would likely increase consumer prices, strain relationships with key allies, and disrupt global supply chains. Economists across the political spectrum caution that broad-based tariffs often function as indirect taxes on domestic consumers, as importers typically pass increased costs onto businesses and households. International reaction was swift. Leaders in the European Union and Asia signaled they were reviewing potential retaliatory measures. Trade partners expressed concern that the blanket tariff could violate World Trade Organization rules and escalate into a broader trade conflict. On Capitol Hill, responses were divided. Supporters praised the move as a bold defense of American manufacturing, arguing that prior targeted tariffs had already reshaped supply chains and encouraged some domestic investment. Opponents countered that Congress, not the president, holds constitutional authority over trade and taxation policy. Legal scholars predict further courtroom battles. While the new tariff relies on a separate legal justification, challengers are expected to argue that its sweeping scope raises fresh constitutional questions. If lawsuits are filed, the issue could once again land before the same Supreme Court that just rebuked the administration. Financial markets reacted cautiously to the announcement. Stocks dipped slightly amid uncertainty, while some domestic manufacturing firms saw short-term gains on expectations of reduced foreign competition. For Trump, the new 10% global tariff reinforces a core theme of his political identity: reshaping America's role in global trade, whether the policy withstands legal scrutiny, and how it reshapes the U.S. economy will likely become a defining issue in the months ahead.